Hi, my name is Khleif, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome to another edition of How to Build Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. I'm Khleif, and I'm thrilled you're here. And I'm very excited to interview my friend today. His name's David Lagat. Now, David is very unique in this business because he's got over 4,000 doors, but he did it on his own. He didn't syndicate. And so very excited to hear that story and have you get to know him and get value from him. So welcome to the show, brother.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So why don't you just take it away and talk about how you got started and really kind of give, maybe I'll ask questions to drill down, but I want people to know that it is possible to do it yourself. Now, you are very unusual in that regard to have the number of units that you have, but tell my listeners how you did it.
So, straight out of college, I went to corporate America like everybody else. Got a job working for a bank. And then while doing that, I was thinking about, different avenues to earn extra income. I was a way to retire. And one of the options that I read about there was to invest in real estate. Mm-hmm. So while working at the bank at the time, I started buying single family homes, and my first purchase was a plex that I bought and moved into one unit. And nice. Then and then after that, I think I bought it.
And this was so that we can chronologically follow this. This was where and when?
This was in 2001, and it's here in Dallas for work.
Dallas.
Yes.
Okay.
And, moved into one unit because one of those, I didn't have a lot of money. So One way to get the least amount of down payment was to get an FHA loan. Right. So I was able to get a 3%. I don't remember, It was a 3 or 5% down payment.
Oh, it's usually 3%.
Yeah, it was a 3% down payment. And so I moved with me and my wife, we moved into one unit to get that 3%. And we were able to stay there. I think the requirement was to stay there for a year.
Right.
So we moved in there, and that's how we cut our teeth into it. And,
Wow. So if you don't mind, I want you to continue your story, but let me just hammer something home to my listeners. What you did is the absolute best way to start. And here's why. Not only can you get, an FHA loan, 3% down, even less if the seller kicks in some money, but it's 30-year fixed financing. So it's fantastic loan, but you can actually use the lease revenue, the income from the other units to help you qualify for more than you'd be able to qualify for on your own. And chances are you probably lived for much less than you would have lived in a home anyway, if not for free,
Yes, right? Absolutely.
Right.
And one of the things too that helped me out is I closed on the second of the month. So what ended up happening, they gave me the rent for that, for that month. And then the next month, the loan is not due for 45 days. So I got not only did I get credit for the deposits, the rent for the month that I closed in, and then the next month. So I ended up having to come up to the closing table with less than $5,000, which I got from my credit card.
Nice. And so remember that, guys, the earlier you can close for the first of the month, particularly with an income property, that's how it works. Well, that's fantastic. And it's called house hacking now, but you just intuitively, knew to do it. So tell us what happened after that.
After that, I bought, I met with a real estate broker. And, trying to figure out a different way to, buy the next property. I used all the money on the first deal and all that stuff, but I was working a full-time job. So now that I didn't have to pay rent because the other 3 units were paying, I started saving money. All my payroll, my W income job was being saved, and talked to real estate agents and I'll go through the newspaper back in the day, and I'll go to the real estate section, and I'll go through the, all the listed properties on Sundays or Saturday weekend. They would have all the listing. I'll call all the brokers in town that are listed there, and I would meet them. I met this broker that had, he was like, I have a townhome here that just fell out of contract, So he got me to get into the property for the same price that they had it the contract
that it was under contract for. Mm-hmm.
For yeah. So I ended up buying that, and then he sold it for me for 6 months down the road, and I made $30,000. That was the most money I've ever made.
Wow. So you flipped it basically in 6 months and made 30,000. Wow. Fantastic.
30,000. And then from that, I did a 1031 exchange, ran about 1031 exchange. And I split it into three. Basically, I would take 10,000 and I'll put in one house, 10,000. So I ended up buying 3 properties out of that one.
Okay. So you 1031 from one into 3 separate houses.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
And so that's how I end up, so that's really my business plan for about 10 years, where I would buy one, I would buy 3 houses like those ones, and I would fix one, sell it out, rent the other 2.
Oh.
So I would do that over and over and over and over and over and over and over until I had over close to 100 houses.
Okay. And so you went through the crash of 2008 and you survived. Okay. No problem with your houses then. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It was perfect because by 2008, I had left my job in 2006 because I had about, I'll say 60, 70 houses, and half of them were paid off.
Oh, half of them were paid off. So you were paying them off as you went as well.
Yeah. So when I sell them, I made 30,000, I would pay some off and roll into another one, and it would be the same, over and over. So you were in a good loan to value. You had lots of cash flow coming in. So
okay. So when did you buy your first slightly larger property? So you said you got up to about 100 houses.
When I left the corporate America, I left the bank. I started buying a lot. I'm not working in corporate America anymore. I was managing the houses myself. My office was McDonald's or Starbucks. So I would meet people to collect rents, McDonald's, to take an application to McDonald's. So I was looking for an office space. I met this office broker, and the price he was asking was too much. He was like, well, if you want something cheaper, hey, I got something for you. You need to go to LookNet, look for such and such a property. When I looked up, I saw a 72-unit apartment complex not too far from where I live, about 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I called the broker that was listing it, and he told me, hey, let's meet at the property. And, when I met him at the property, he asked me, I never met him before. He asked me, have you done multifamily before? No. So I told him my story about, hey, I have these houses. It's what I've done. And he was like, you know what? I think you should put an offer on this property. It was listed.
What year was this, David?
This is 2011.
Okay, so this is after the crash. Fantastic, awesome. Okay, perfect.
So 2011, I think we looked up the loan. It was in receivership. We looked up the property. The loan with the bank was like $2 million some change. They're asking the broker was asking $695. It was on receivership.
So the loan was $2 million. They were only asking $695,000.
Yes, and the reason why the property was 10% occupied.
10%. Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So the bank didn't want to take it in their books because I guess they looked at it as liability, so they put it on receivership.
Okay.
So at that point, I talked to this broker. Didn't know anything about cap rates and all that. All I know is, buy low, sell high.
Right.
So I went over there, talked with the broker, and one thing led to another. He told me, hey, I was like, what is it going to take for me to buy this property? And he told me, hey, if you came in at 675, you'll be in the best and final. So like 675 it is. So I put an LOI, send it to him. 2 weeks later, he calls me and said, hey, David, you got the deal.
Awesome.
But let me go back a little bit.
Okay.
In those 2 weeks, I started asking everybody about the property, the city, and everybody. And everybody, their grandma never told me to run. Don't buy that property. Yes.
Right. Okay.
Even a partner that I had with houses at the time that were doing houses, kind of wholesaling, he was like, let's just stay on houses. Let's just do what we know. Sure. Let's do that. And, so anyway, so he came back and said, you're in the best and final. What is your best offer? There's a couple of best, knowing what I knew at the time, I told him my best and final, I'm trying to get out. I told him I wanted my best and final would be 475.
Wow. You dropped 200 off the price.
Yes, because basically I'm trying to say, hey, I want out.
Right.
So he comes back and said, like, David, best and final means you go up. And I was like, I understand. But this is, based on what I've done, my research and all that is where.
Your due diligence. Yeah. You did your evaluation. You got bad feedback. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got bad feedback. And so it's like, okay.
couple of days later, he calls me and says, "You got the deal." I was like,
I knew that was coming. That's awesome. Awesome.
So I was like, "Mr. Broker, I don't know if you know this or not, but I went out." He was like, "Hey, David, there's nobody here. You've got your money. Your 25,000 is hard, not refundable. But I tell you what you can do. Go to such and such a bank, tell them your story, and they will see if they can help you."
Right.
So I drove. He had the relationship there, so I drove there, meet the president of the bank. The bank told me, "Look, David, we would not touch that property, but tell you what we can do. We can take 7 of your single-family homes. We'll give you 500,000 cash. I'm gonna cash you out, and you can pay cash for that apartment."
Nice.
That's exactly what I did. Bought that property in 2011.
How much work did it need? I mean, it must have been a pretty beat up property.
It wasn't actually. So the other part about this, my only condition to buy the other properties, I went and talked to the property manager that the bank had hired to manage the property. So when I talked to her, remember, I don't have any management.
Right. You don't know how to manage an asset like that. Use houses. It's completely different animal.
So different. So I talked to the lady at the office and I was like, "Hey, what is it going to take for you to stay?" She was like, "If you give me $1 a raise, I'll stay." And I was like, "What about 2? What about 3? She's like, "Yes, I'll stay. I'll stay for 3. That was the best money that I ever spent.
Really?
Because she ended up managing the property. She brought a maintenance guy, hired the maintenance person. And in 13 months, she was at 90%. We sold it for 1.4 million.
No kidding. No kidding. Yes. So you sold it so you'd have the money to trade up, yes?
Yes. That's how I started building that. And then I did that one exchange into the second one, into the third one and all that. So that's how really I started into the multifamily space without syndicating.
Fantastic. So guys, I know everything is rosy right now. You're thinking, oh, he got lucky because there was a crash and there was, a great deal, and those deals aren't out there right now. But I'm here to tell you, I think they're coming. And I get a lot of hate over this. People think I'm nuts, but I think they're coming. I think we're going to see that, that type of an asset, a C asset, C- asset, those kinds of assets I think we're gonna see a correction. Maybe not in 2021, but I think in 2022. You can't throw stimulus at this forever. So, this model that you use, David, is a fantastic model. If you've got the discipline to, sell and then springboard that into another asset. So, how quickly, so that was 2011. At what point did you get up to 4,000 doors that you had yourself?
So what ended up changing everything is I bought the second, third, and fourth, and then I ran into family office type that have over 10, 20,000 units. They were trying to liquidate a bunch of units.
Oh.
I had bought one property that was next to theirs, and I guess the broker for that family office was reaching out to everybody around that bought a property. And I just happened to be one of them. So he reached out and said, "Hey, I noticed you bought a property in such and such a street. Would you be interested on this other property?" For a while, I ignored them, but finally I was able to, after they were persistent, I was able to, have coffee with them. I ended up buying that property. And the next
So how did you handle all these down payments? Because those aren't insignificant. Were they, for example, what was the price of that property, if you recall?
Which one? The second
one? The one you bought from the family office. How did you come up with the equity? Because you weren't raising it, you were using your own pocketbook.
That's a very good question, because then I would have I have 40 single family homes, so I kept going to the bank and that's how I would raise it. And the other way is 1031 exchange. So when I bought the first property, I took all that 1.4 and bought another apartment complex cash, and then I sold that, which it had doubled. So now you have all this liquidity. You instead of talking about 10,000, you're talking about a couple $1 million.
Okay.
So
you still had some cash when they approached you from the family office, and you were able to get decent financing.
Yes, I had just sold another apartment complex.
I see. Okay.
Yes, and I had some cash, and I was just looking. So when they approached me, the only reason I even listened is because now I was under the gun to do the 45-day identification.
Right.
So
Right.
I decided to meet them for only that reason. And
I see. I see.
so they
Just
started.
let me stop you for 1 second. So guys, if you don't know this, most of you do, but if you don't, on a 1031 exchange, you only have 45 days to identify your next asset. You don't have to close in 45, but you have to identify, one or several properties that you're considering. And so, that's why, when I train people to do mailers to homeowners one of the great headlines is to say, I need to buy property in the next 30 days. And savvy sellers will think they've got you a little over a barrel because you're in a 1031 and they might be able to get a better deal. And that increases your response rate on mailers. But anyway, so now you got to fourth. So at what point did you get to about 4,000 doors? What year do you recall?
About 2018.
Okay, 2018. So 7 years after you started buying multifamily.
Yeah, and the only way I got there was I started buying a portfolio. Like the first portfolio I bought was 1,500 units.
Okay.
From the same family office, and then 1,000 units. That's how I got there. So
that's how you did it. So big purchases, but you were still able to squeeze the equity out from houses, from wherever you could.
1031 exchanges, refinances, and then also that once I did 1 or 2 deals with them, they were able to carry back the whole loan in about 1,000 units, 900 units.
Oh wow, that's huge. So they saw you were real, and they took a chance on you. Wow, fantastic.
Yeah. So after I did the 1,500 and was able to pull that off,
they financed you. Wow.
They were able to finance me, and that's how I was able to, grow so fast.
Fantastic. And so now you're of the mindset, why sell, right?
Yes.
And so you don't want to sell to get more units. You want to syndicate to get more units. So I know you've syndicated about 850 now, which is the first for you. I mean, when I met you in Houston at another event I was speaking at, and I think
it was actually Boston.
It was Boston. Oh, forgive me. That's okay. Yeah. It was Boston. Yeah. And I remember, you hadn't done a syndication yet. Now you're in my multifamily boardroom mastermind. You're around a lot of operators. That's all they've ever done is syndication. And exactly. Now you've done 850 units, which is fantastic. So let me ask you this: because you've done it all yourself. When you started syndicating, how did you create reach? How did you get out there to let people know that you're raising equity? I'm just curious. What did you do to get in front of enough people to raise the money to do 850 doors?
Success breeds success, right? So yes. I use my experience, and then what I do is I don't just go out there and syndicate myself. Partnered, like I meet people to a boardroom, and we partner on some deals. They basically have So I would use their expertise since they've done syndication,
right?
And my experience and liquidity and all that, and we're able to do deals that way.
So you partnered with some of the boardroom members, guys. Yes. And forgive me for interrupting and interjecting stuff. Just I want to add as much value to my listeners. And guys, that's a clue. Okay, get around people that think what you think is hard is easy, and you can make this happen. So I've been in masterminds for years. I host, what I can arguably say now is the largest multifamily mastermind in the world. I think we've got over 14 billion in assets. But regardless, go find a group of people that are doing what you want to do, and you will learn. A rising tide lifts all ships. So get around that group. That's the same thing happening in my Warrior mentorship program. I think we're approaching 40,000 units owned, which just blows my mind. And and it's because most of these people are doing deals together. So I just wanted to hammer that point home. Is this is a team sport. You want to be around people that are doing this, and you're just going to massively shorten your learning curve. So. Are you managing all your stuff now, or do you have third-party management? Talk about the management a little bit.
So, my company grew organically, right? So we didn't wake up one day and it's 4,000 units. It's taken us. I was telling somebody the other day.
Oh, sure.
It's taken me 19, 20 years now to do this.
Right.
So it's just been adding, one piece of the puzzle of the management team at a time. And that's how we've grown. Now we are a vertically integrated company. We have a management company in-house.
Company in-house. How about construction?
And we have construction in-house as well.
Okay. So both in-house. Fantastic. And you're based in Dallas?
We're based out of Dallas. Yes.
Dallas. Okay. Fantastic. Now I know your company's Bella Asset Management, BELLA assetmanagement.com. If you guys want to check him out. But so you're vertically integrated. So so you're managing all of your assets you're managing in-house now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we've done from day one. So
you have. Okay.
Yeah,
so you've never done outside. And that's the way an operator, that does their own deals like you've done. That's the way they operate. I mean, that's that's why you're kind of a unicorn in that regard. Fantastic. So, are you implementing, because you're vertically integrated, how big is your operation? I mean, how many employees and stuff?
Right now we have a little bit over 75 full-time
75.
employees. 75 full-time employees.
Fantastic.
And then we have a lot of contractors.
Okay. Yeah, of course. Are you implementing any management processes? I mean, we talk at the boardroom about EOS and the book Traction and, communicating through that kind of a process. Are you implementing anything like that yet, or you've just kind of organically grown this thing?
Yeah, we've just organically grown it.
Okay.
A lot of it is just being organic.
Yeah. Well, I would encourage you, as an aside, I don't know that I should get money from those people because I talk about them so much, but I would encourage you to look at that system. It's been a game changer for us. It's
EOS?
It's called EOS, Entrepreneur's Operating System. And and they talk about it in a book called Traction. And it's just, like I said, it's been a game changer in my thought leadership business and also, in the acquisition side of things. We're implementing it there now. So it's fantastic. And a lot of the boardroom members use it, just so you know. Ivan and a lot of these guys, they swear by it. Albert Barris actually was in the book. He was a case study in the book Traction, which was really kind of cool. But he's done it for a long, long time. But anyway, so what do you think is your superpower as it relates to this business, David? I mean, what do you think talk about some of the things that contributed to your success?
I think passion to provide clean and safe housing is my passion, and also the fact that because of that I'm persistent. Things everything can go wrong in this business, but you got to be persistent, and that's what I've realized. I've had friends that I started with and they quit. But I think, I don't think I was special in any way. I think I just stuck with it.
Now, where are you from? You're an immigrant, aren't you?
Yes. Born and raised in Kenya.
In where, Haiti?
In Kenya.
Oh, Kenya. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay. Yeah. In Kenya. Wow. Very cool. And you immigrated how old were you when you came over?
I came in at 18 to go to college. Yeah. Wow. To go to college, actually.
Oh, okay. And then you just stayed.
Yeah. After college, I, got a job and got married and started a family, got started and got into the real estate business. Nice.
Well, I know you're persistent because I know you wanted to get on the show and I was like, okay, I'll get you on. And we were like slammed. And so I know you're persistent, and you couldn't be a success without being passionate. Right. Guys, passion is probably one of the, next to self-confidence, I would say passion is the most important piece, because how are you going to inspire anybody to do business with you if you're not passionate? And the only way you're going to be passionate is if you love it. Now, you freaking love this business, yes?
Oh, I love it. When I started, people would say you're going to get into a burnout and all that. But what I'm thinking is, to avoid that, I've added people, added systems and added people to whereby I
sure. Yeah, you're not out there plunging toilets anymore, any of that stuff. You may be the first day or the first house, but no. And that's what you do is you outsource all these things. You hire these things and the things that you don't love. I mean, so that you're doing what you love, which is going out there, finding deals, building relationships, raising equity, doing the due diligence. And you probably have a lot of fun doing the turnarounds on a project.
Very exciting.
Talk about the biggest reposition that you ever did. I mean, how big a repositions have you done? Have you pretty much bought properties that don't need a ton of work, or talk about that a little bit?
Actually, the only way that majority of our deals have been all reposition deals. We buy opportunistic value add.
Right.
Our first deal was less than 10,000 of those. That means it needed a lot of work.
Yeah.
One deal that I did, and it's pretty interesting, I'm sure you're gonna ask me about it, is I had a contract on a deal and it got on fire in the middle of the contract.
Oh wow.
So while at it, I had an option to back out or get the insurance funds to do it. Well, that was the first deal that I wanted to do syndication that didn't work because the people that I had that were going to put in the money,
They backed
after
out.
the fire, they backed out, right? But I can back out because that was one of my 1031 exchange properties that I identified.
So you couldn't back out, or you'd have to pay
Yes.
tax, right?
Yes.
Right.
So I stuck with it, and they were able to. I took the insurance funds, was able to close the deal with 1031 exchange, and it was a big heavy lift. But I got the insurance money.
Right.
That,
which is more than typically you're going to
Yes.
spend.
Yes.
If you
So
do
I
it,
end up-
especially if you do it yourself, you make money.
Yes. That's how
Right.
I started the construction company.
Oh, love it.
From
Love
that
So,
point.
so did you become a general contractor, or
Yes.
Oh, you did. You got licensed. Wow.
I
wow,
became,
wow, wow.
No, in Texas you don't need a license.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I interviewed someone else. You don't have to have a license there. It blew me away to
you
hear
just-
that.
yeah.
Right.
Just hire people with trades, make sure
Right.
they had licenses and they
Right,
pull permits
right.
and all that. I just was on the property every day anyway. So
Sure. So it's a lot of work, but it's probably a lot of fun too when you look back on
and
it.
I tell you that turned out to be the best deal that I ever did.
I believe it. Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe it. Yeah. I tell you, we've got an asset up in, I tell the story on this. We've got an asset up in Beaver Creek, Ohio, 101 units, got
Right.
hit by a tornado.
Oh,
and we and I mean just destroyed it, blew, I mean it just destroyed the place, all 101 families out, and
wow.
Luckily nobody got killed. A couple people got pretty seriously injured, but they're okay now. They had surgery and stuff, but still it was a blessing nobody died, but we were able to redo that thing, and of course insurance paid for everything, and we're getting a $650 rent bump.
Wow.
So if you do the math on that, it's about a $12 million increase in value.
Wow.
So
wow.
I remember my wife used to listen to me on phone calls where I'd have, I had a bunch of houses and I'd have a fire on a house, and she'd hear me go, "Oh my God, is everybody okay?" She'd hear the other end of the conversation. "Is everybody okay?" And, "Oh, thank God nobody got hurt." And then I get off the phone, I'd be like, "Yeah," because I knew I was going to make money, whatever there's, I mean, if nobody got hurt, it's a good thing. But if you're doing the work yourself.
Yes. So it turned out that's how we ended up starting our construction company. We had all those people after doing that left. It was, $5 to $1 million construction, $500 to $1 million in construction work that was needed. So we end up redoing the whole complex with that funds too.
Nice.
Well,
that's awesome that fed right into your ability to now have, to be fully integrated and handle these repositions yourself. Now, are you in any other markets beside Dallas, or do you stick with Dallas?
We are in 5 markets. We are in Oklahoma, and we are in New Mexico.
Okay.
We are in Alabama and Louisiana.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Where in Louisiana?
We're in Baton Rouge.
Okay. Baton Rouge. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so let me ask you this, buddy. What's the driver? What's the driver that gets you, is it just your love of this, or what's the why? What's the why that makes you jump out of bed and attack this? Even way back when you first got started, what's the why?
I mean, at first you want to, take care of your family, and you want to be able to take, you want to, get a good life out of it and build a retirement and all that stuff. But over time, it's more than that, because that, once, you do a couple of deals and you're able to pay your bills. Once you pay your bills, my why now is, being, like I said earlier, being able to provide clean and safe, communities for our tenants. It's great to see, apartments, basically that we renovate, change from, terrible, Humpty Dumpty to, beautiful, with nice, landscaping and all that stuff after we're done with the construction. So that's really exciting.
That's nice. Let me ask you this. Did your upbringing in Kenya allow you to see contrast with here? And, I don't know, what that upbringing was like. I know there's a lot of poverty in Africa, right. Period. Did that play a role in this at all?
Yes, because here you compare over there, there's not a lot of opportunity like you have here. So this, to get to where you can buy all these properties and leverage and all that, there's no, when I was there, you can go to a bank and borrow a loan, right?
Right.
Here you can, you can leverage, put so little money and buy this big asset. When you tell people I actually own, I remember one instant I was talking to my parents, like, "Hey, I own this apartment." She's like, "Do you mean the one unit that you live in?"
That's awesome. That's awesome.
They can't comprehend what that meant.
Right. Oh,
yeah,
that's
like,
so
no,
cool.
the whole thing. They're like, no, they didn't believe for a while.
No kidding. That's so cool. That's
how
so
can
cool.
you own those so many units?
Are they still back in Kenya?
No. Yeah, they're here. My parents
are here now.
Since,
oh, nice. No, that's nice. So let me ask you this, my friend. What did you have to sacrifice to get where you are right now?
I'll say being a one-man show at the beginning, I have family, I have kids and all that. And I think at the beginning, I was away a lot because when I was working a full-time job, I would be, driving deals in the, right after work. I would go to work, 9 to 5, drive home, get home around 6. Maybe there's something I need to do with houses or looking for properties to buy. So for the first 5 years, it was kind of tough because, I was doing everything. And that I sacrificed time with family.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Now you're a leader, obviously. Well, you've been a leader this whole time, but I mean, you've got a fairly significant organization. What are some characteristics that you're trying to embody as a leader to drive your organization forward and nurture the culture and the growth of your organization? What are some qualities that you're trying to embody or you feel like you have that help? And maybe you could answer it like this: what are the qualities you feel a leader should have? Period.
I think to be in this business, and I've had you say this a couple of times, it's a people business. If you're looking at it as dollar signs and how many properties you have, I think it's being able to relate to people and being able to work with people. So I do think as a leader, integrity and doing what you say you're going to do when you're going to do it, I think that goes a long way.
Having integrity, for sure.
Yes, and doing it when you say you're going to do it works for the tenants, it works with employees as well that are following your, getting to follow your vision. I think that's one thing, and being, working hard. I mean, I think hard work and, that's one of the things that showing up to work every single day and
showing up's half the battle.
Yes,
really
exactly.
is. Okay. So that's a quote from somebody I know, but yeah.
Yeah. So I do think that plays along, and being persistent, being able to, empathize, because some of these properties that you're dealing with, you're dealing with a lot of people with different backgrounds, different situations, and those come out a lot, quite a bit. And with your employees too, the situation that we have right now with COVID and all that, you hear all kind of stories. So, it takes a special kind of person to do that, to be able to handle the tenants. And my hat goes off to, our frontliners, which is our property managers, the people, our maintenance people, because they're the ones that are actually working with the tenants.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Have you found, like we have, that the impact of COVID varies by state?
That's a good point, because some of our properties in other states are doing a lot better than other
really?
states.
Okay. Well, in our case, the one in Louisiana is not doing well at all because of their eviction situation. Where the ones in Dallas seem to be doing, there's a lot of relief and stuff, but maybe it's different in your situation. I don't know. We're finding out that our Oklahoma properties are doing really well. I mean, besides Dallas, obviously, but I think our Oklahoma properties with the COVID and all that, they're doing good. Okay. And Alabama as well. Alabama's doing well. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I was actually very impressed with that. Okay. That's awesome. So tell me about a time you made a mistake, like a big one, and how did you handle it? What happened? And if there's a lesson, what was the lesson? I think one of the deals that I did was buying land, right? I thought I'm going to be big time developer, didn't have experience, sounded sexy. I'm a developer, I'm a land builder and all that. Bought all these properties, paid cash for it. I still have it today. Alligator no kidding. Well, you know what? I bet you it pays off in the long run, and it's just at some point, because a lot of people are building and developing to rent right now. So if there's zone multifamily, you could have some real opportunity. Yeah, but it was one of those things. Didn't do any research and all that, and I was just thought that was my next way up, and it's been, I think, about in 2007. Still have it today. Well, okay, that's a good one. All right. Yeah, and so do you have a funny story Do you have a funny story? Maybe a landlord tenant story, maybe a buy story. I mean, I've got some real funny ones around stupid stuff that's happened over the years with tenants and stuff. Does anything come to mind? I know I didn't prepare you for any of this, but
yeah. I think the story is that, and this is not, to knock anybody down, but a lot of times is I used to do the management myself. And
you used to do what yourself?
Management myself, like, I'll collect the rent and all that stuff.
Right.
And I had one tenant that would tell me several times that somebody passed away, So like I would get a story about
the whole family's dying off.
Yeah, but then one time he told me the same person died again, and it's like
okay, so that's a good one. That's a good one.
Pretty interesting, So stories like that are way off the charts.
Would you do anything different knowing what you know now if you went back?
Yes.
Because I mean, you did it pretty effectively. So
I liked it. I think what I could have done is I got introduced to multifamily in 2006. Didn't pull a trigger until 2011. That's 5 years.
Right.
So I think what we could have done differently was go
start
bigger,
like in 09, maybe 10.
Yeah, 09, 10.
Yeah.
And, it took me 10 years of doing single family homes before I, moved into.
Trust me, don't feel bad. It took me 30, so it's okay.
Wow.
It's okay. Well, listen, my friend, it's great to see you. You've absolutely added value and inspired people, with your story, which is just truly incredible. I remember when you first told it to me when we met in Boston, it was same people at an event in Houston. That's what got me confused. But when we met in Boston, I remember you telling me, I'm like, holy shit, you did it by yourself. Holy cow. And that's just so unusual and so inspiring.
Yeah, but I would add to that, though. I did it with all the help of my wonderful employees. So I didn't do it.
Oh, well, of course. No question. I mean, it's a team effort. Just your business model is just so unique in the fact that you didn't syndicate. And it's very, very exciting to hear that. I think the only other person I know right now that's as, huge like that is Albert Barras, with his, the guy's a billionaire at this point because he did it the way you did it. And it's just very inspiring. Well, listen, my friend, Happy New Year. It's great to see you. Congratulations on your family situation. And I really appreciate you coming on the show, brother.
Thank you, Rod. Thank you for having me on.
You bet. Great to see you.
Okay, thank you.
Rod, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. Now, I know you've been hard at work helping our Warrior students do just that using our ACT methodology, which is awareness, close, and transform. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
You bet. Guys, we've been going nonstop for 3 years, building an amazing community of like-minded people. And our coaching students, which we call our warriors, have had extraordinary results. They've purchased thousands and thousands of units. And last year, we did over 1,000 units with our students. And we're looking to grow this group and take it to the next level. We're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework that's really step by step and then leverage our systems and network to raise equity, to find and close deals, and to build partnerships nationwide. Now, our warrior community is finding success in any market cycle. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more of our incredible network and take advantage of the incredible opportunities that are coming very soon, apply to work with us at mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 41411. That's mentorwithrod.com or text CRUSH to 41411.